Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into something that literally affects almost every single business owner and facility manager out there. But you know what? It's rarely talked about with total transparency. We're looking at the real truth behind commercial cleaning quotes, zooming in specifically on the landscape in Hartford, Connecticut. You see, when a business goes looking for a cleaning service, it's so easy to just chase the lowest number. But today, we're going to expose why that bottom line number often hides a massive, invisible cost. Let's get into it.
Let's kick things off with a super direct question. What does affordable actually mean in the commercial cleaning world? I mean, it's a word that gets tossed around a ton, right? But as our source material from Detail Clean points out, true affordability is absolutely not just that initial number you see on a quote. It's really about the consistent value you're actually getting for your money, month in and month out, without all those unexpected headaches.
Consider this classic trap. On one hand, you've got a service quoting you, say, $380 a month. For that, you're getting a consistent crew, incredibly thorough cleaning, and absolutely zero hidden fees, right? On the other hand, you get a quote for $290 a month. Now that looks way better on paper. But, the reality of that $290 quote is usually rotating crews who have no idea how your building works, restrooms that are maybe half cleaned, and invoices just stuffed with surprise line items. The businesses that finally escape that $290 situation rarely say they were overpaying. They complain that they literally weren't getting what they paid for. That cheap quote is actually a completely different, totally invisible kind of expensive.
Section 1. What actually drives cleaning costs beyond the flat rate?
So, pricing in commercial cleaning, it's not just a flat rate pulled out of thin air. There are a few key elements at play here. First off, there's square footage, which, is pretty obvious, but it's tied directly to layout complexity. Then we have service frequency. Think about it. A busy restaurant or a daycare that needs daily service has a vastly different cost structure compared to, say, a low-traffic corporate office that maybe only needs cleaning 2 or 3 days a week. And finally, the scope of services. This means figuring out if you just need basic trash removal and a quick wipe down, or if you're looking at monthly floor care, carpet extraction, and window cleaning. You really have to make sure you're comparing apples to apples.
Which brings us to this absolutely vital point. The complexity of the layout matters just as much as the total size. You might intuitively think a larger space always costs more to clean, right? Actually, scratch that. It's just not true. Imagine a 3,000 square foot open plan office. It's wide open, spacious, and pretty fast to clean. Now contrast that with a 2,000 square foot medical practice. It's got multiple tiny exam rooms, a patient waiting area, plus separate staff and patient restrooms. That smaller medical space is actually way harder and therefore more expensive to clean properly.
Section 2. The franchise hidden cost problem, royalties and turnover.
Okay, this is where that initial super low quote turns into a massive headache, usually through something called scope creep. Scope creep happens when unwritten agreements lead to unexpected billable charges. A company might come in with an incredibly low quote just to win your contract, but because nothing was actually documented before the work started, they suddenly start nickel and diming you for basic supplies, deep cleaning, or just minor schedule changes. Fast forward 6 months, your invoice is completely bloated and it looks absolutely nothing like what you originally agreed on.
The best way to protect yourself is pretty straightforward. When there is no written scope, you're leaving a massive loophole wide open for surprise bills. But with a written agreement firmly in place before anyone even touches a mop in your building, you establish a clear baseline. That written scope is basically your ultimate protection. It ensures your invoices are completely predictable and exactly what you originally signed off on.
So why do so many companies operate in this super chaotic way? Well, it often boils down to the business model itself. A lot of national franchise chains that operate under local brand names face some really intense financial pressures. The local franchisee is typically juggling incredibly high employee turnover, while at the exact same time having to pay hefty royalties back to the national franchisor. Both of those pressures inevitably squeeze their profit margins. And what do you think is the first thing to suffer? Yep, the quality of the cleaning in your facility. That's exactly why you get a completely different crew showing up every single week who doesn't know your building's specific needs.
Section 3. The Blueprint. 3 must-haves before starting.
You should absolutely demand these 3 non-negotiable steps from any cleaning company before signing on the dotted line. Step 1. A free on-site estimate. Honestly, anyone quoting your commercial facility without walking the space first is literally just guessing. Period. Step 2. A written scope of work. As we just talked about, this is your primary shield against hidden fees. And step 3, a direct line to management.
You do not want to be dealing with some 1-800 number or a distant regional customer service desk. When something needs fixing, you need real, local accountability from the actual people running the company.
Section 4. The Detail Clean Solution: local, transparent, reliable.
Since 2009, Detail Clean has served over 250 businesses across Hartford County. They're an independent, locally owned company, not a franchise. This deep local experience means they intimately understand the specific day-to-day operating realities of commercial buildings right here in the Hartford market, in a way that, a rotating local franchisee of a massive national chain just simply cannot.
Furthermore, they totally eliminate the headache of juggling multiple vendors because they offer a really comprehensive range of services. We're talking basic janitorial maintenance, floor stripping and waxing, carpet extraction, electrostatic disinfecting, window cleaning, and even water damage restoration. And honestly, the best part? The whole shebang is handled under a single written scope of work. One contract, 0 franchise intermediaries, and absolutely no hidden fees. Now, for businesses in the Hartford area that are just tired of the rotating crews and surprise invoices, Detail Clean is actually running a really fantastic promotion right now. There's a limited time offer for 50% off your first month of recurring commercial cleaning when you sign up. It is absolutely the perfect risk-free opportunity to finally upgrade your facility to a totally transparent, highly reliable local service. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question to chew on as you walk around your office, your restaurant, or your clinic tomorrow morning. Look at your floors, look at your restrooms, and then look at your most recent invoice and ask yourself this: is your current cleaning contract actually protecting your facility, or is it just hiding the real costs? If you aren't absolutely 100% sure it's the former, it might just be time to audit your bills, demand that written scope, and reach out for a proper on-site estimate. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.